You likely envision the Panama Canal as a sprawling, man-made trench cleaving the Americas. A straightforward channel where the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans seamlessly merge, allowing global trade to flow without friction. But this is one of the most dangerous misconceptions in global logistics. The Panama Canal is not a trench. It is a colossal, gravity-powered water elevator. Yet this entire system, which single-handedly facilitates $270 billion in global cargo annually, hinges on a single, hidden freshwater lake, suspended 85 feet above sea level. But right now, that lake is running dry. The implications of this physical failure are currently sending shockwaves through global financial markets. The canal does not rely on ocean water to elevate these vessels. It relies entirely on fresh water, demanding precisely 52 million gallons for every single transit. This water is permanently lost, flushed directly into the ocean the moment the locks open. A devastating multi-year drought has forced the Panama Canal Authority to drastically slash the number of daily transit slots. The result is a chaotic shadow market where shipping magnates are forced to participate in blind auctions. They are paying upwards of $4 million in auction fees just for the right to bypass the queue. To understand the financial chokehold this waterway has on the world, you first have to understand why it was built this way. In the late 1800s, the French attempted to excavate a sea-level canal, mirroring their success in Suez. But Panama's brutal geography, its torrential rains, unstable mountainsides, and devastating malaria crushed the project, bankrupting the investors and killing thousands. When the Americans took over, they realized you could not dig down to the ocean. You had to lift the ships up and over the mountains. By damming the Chagres River, they constructed the Gatun Dam, engineering what was then the largest man-made lake on the planet. They then built 3 colossal sets of locks on either side of the continent to act as the steps. Here is the sheer mechanical reality of how these locks function without a single mechanical water pump. The entire system is gravity-fed. When a ship enters the first lock at sea level, gigantic subterranean valves open, allowing water from the lake above to rush into the chamber. The water level equalizes, lifting the behemoth ship 27 feet in the air. The gates close, the ship moves to the next lock, and the process repeats until it is 85 feet above sea level, floating on Lake Gatun. The ship sails across the artificial lake, reaches the other side, and the process reverses to lower it down to the opposing ocean. But every time a ship goes down, all that fresh water is permanently dumped into the sea. 50 million gallons per ship. Up to 40 ships a day. That is 2 billion gallons of unrecoverable fresh water required every single day just to keep global trade functioning. The engineering was flawless for a century, assuming the rainforest would reliably refill the lake. But the El Niño weather phenomenon, exacerbated by shifting climate patterns, delivered one of the worst droughts in the region's recorded history. Gatun Lake's water levels plummeted to critical lows. If the lake drops too low, the canal ceases to function. Furthermore, this lake provides the drinking water for over half the population of Panama. The Canal Authority faced an impossible choice: preserve the drinking water for their citizens or preserve global shipping. They had to drastically slash the daily transit slots from 36 down to as low as 22. Overnight, the most important logistical shortcut on Earth became a catastrophic bottleneck. This is where the physical engineering failure violently collides with global finance. To manage the crushing backlog of desperate ships, the Panama Canal Authority utilizes a blind auction system for emergency transit slots. If you arrive without a booked slot, you have to bid against other shipping conglomerates to jump the line. Historically, this auction might cost a few $100,000, but as slots evaporated, panic set in and the bids skyrocketed. In late 2023, a single ship paid nearly $4 million in auction fees. That is just the fee to bypass the queue. It does not include the standard $500,000 transit toll. This invisible toll represents one of the most brutal transfers of wealth in the modern logistics industry. But not all cargo is created equal in this high-stakes auction. If your vessel is hauling raw coal, grain, or low-margin agricultural products, absorbing a $4 million auction premium completely obliterates the cargo's profit margin. These ships cannot afford to wait, and they cannot afford to pay. They are forced to take the devastatingly long route around Cape Horn at the bottom of South America. This detour adds 3 weeks to the transit, incinerates hundreds of thousands of dollars in excess bunker fuel, and forces vessels through some of the deadliest waters on Earth. This instantly spikes maritime insurance premiums and throws global supply chains into chaos. Conversely, ships carrying liquid natural gas or thousands of high-end consumer electronics can easily absorb the auction hit. They simply pass that cost directly onto the consumer. The Panama Canal drought is a hidden structural tax on the entire global economy. The market cannot tolerate this level of physical unreliability. As a result, substantial capital is fleeing to alternative geopolitical solutions. Mexico is rapidly advancing its interoceanic corridor, an ambitious railway project designed to connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans across the Isthmus of Tehuantepec. The pitch is simple. Offload your containers on one coast, train them across in hours, and load them onto a new ship on the other side. But rail networks are severely inefficient when stacked against the staggering cargo density of a single Neo-Panamax vessel. You would need over 100 heavy freight trains to move the cargo of just one ship. Recognizing these limitations, other global powers are bypassing Central America entirely. Chinese infrastructure firms are quietly sweeping through South America, investing billions in deep-water ports in Peru and Chile. They are preparing for a fractured logistics map where Panama is no longer the undisputed king of the hemisphere. The Panama Canal is a 20th century engineering miracle currently being broken by 21st century climate and financial realities. It proves that despite our algorithmic trading, high-frequency data networks, and cloud infrastructure, the physical economy is still bound by the absolute laws of nature. When water becomes scarce, time becomes expensive. And when time becomes expensive, every single physical object you purchase goes up in price. Global trade operates on a razor's edge of efficiency, assuming perfect conditions. But what happens when the very machines that power our digital economy face a physical choke point even more restrictive than the Panama Canal? You're watching Mercos Insights. Subscribe and join us next as we deconstruct the trillion-dollar clean rooms of ASML.